This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description. Hello and welcome everyone to our 178th session of HalloCasa. My name is Michael and today I'm talking to Vinod Raisinghani from Mumbai in India. Vinod has a lot of experience in commercial sector, worked for companies like Regos, and now is working for a company which specializes in offices and also in retail spaces. Vinod, thank you so much for your time. I'm really pumped to have you on the show. Always nice to talk with people of regions where I've never been to, and Mumbai is one of those. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for inviting me and talking to me about the Mumbai real estate. So yes, I've been working into the commercial real estate for over 10 years now. And yes, commercial real estate, we now have flexible offices, co-working spaces, and managed offices is one of the predominant factors that derives not only Mumbai, but majority of the cities in India. We used to have times wherein the flex works take up used to be about, say, 2-3% of the overall annual take up of commercial real estate. And here we are in 2025, it's about 20% of the take up that normally takes up. So every lakh square feet or 100,000 square feet that get leased every year, 20,000 of that is going into co-working and flexible workspaces. And it's an industry which is growing by 25% annually. That's compounded annually. And we are looking at it as an industry which is $9 billion in terms of the kind of volume that it can produce in India.
Let me ask you about the company you're working for. You pronounce it AWFIS?
Yes, it's Office. It's called Office. Yeah, and this is one of the largest players in co-working and derives about 15-20% of the market share across the country, present in about 18 cities, overall about 200 centers and 150,000 seats, workstations, if you may call it, which is run by the company Office.
Tell me a little bit more about the co-working industry. So why is that so trending at the moment in India overall?
One of the major factors, Michael, is flexibility that all the corporates are looking for. Pre-COVID or post-COVID, they've been looking at flexibility. And co-working provides them the flexibility to either scale up or reduce the kind of space that they have, thereby reducing their outflows or ensuring that they have the right amount of space when they need it. And with the growing nature of this business, we have to be everywhere across the city or the length and breadth of the city. Yeah, I think even for the employees, it's a lot of flexibility to travel to the nearest location and work from there.
Why do you think that Office is so successful, as you say, like covering 20% of the Indian market, which is a huge market, over other competitors? What do you think is Office doing well?
Yeah, so I think we've got to understand the psyche of the client, and Office has done that pretty well. We've understood the kind of price points that are sweet for the market. We've understood the micro markets very deeply inside the cities. We've also ensured that the services and the kind of design and the layouts that we provide to our clients are optimal. We don't really pride ourselves as one of the most premium players in the market, but yes, we are the most looked out for kind of a service provider. So I think that is one of the biggest reasons.
As a client, do I get the same perks? I'm from Western Europe. You might know WeWork. We have like here, this is like the most predominant one. There, if you have Spaces, I think it's another one. Is it this package as a client? Do I get the same like free
Absolutely.
coffee?
Much
Yeah,
more than
go ahead,
that.
please.
Much more than that. I think we've learned from the likes of the global players. We pride ourselves being Indian, but yeah, we've learned a lot from the global players like WeWork, Regis, and the ones that have entered the market. And the kind of services that we provide are much more and much deeper connected with the client. Yes, you will get it as a package, and you pay one single check a month for all the services, including the office space.
Do you mainly have, let's say, early stage companies who don't know where the journey goes, so they need the flexibility? Or do you also have established companies who say, hey, instead of going for an entire office, furbishing it, blah, blah, we actually need, let's just go into a co-working space because it's just like easier and we don't care if it's now a bit more expensive on a monthly basis. I give you an example. Adidas in Germany.
Yep.
I had the head of office in Germany lately on the call from Savills. You might know Savills. You might know that company. And he took
Savills is in India as well. Yeah.
yeah, and he took Adidas as an example and says, listen, like in Germany, I don't know if you have a lot of big companies, they're in the middle of nowhere. Like we call it, we say it in the Pampa. And he says Adidas, they just went for a co-working space in Berlin to make it more appealing to the younger people who are like just working in marketing and stuff, to also have more access to better talent. My question here,
Yes.
are those clients also using Office, or is it more that you really focus on startups and early stage companies?
I think things have changed after 2021. Before 2021, we were more focused on the startups, the mid-sized kind of organizations. But at these times, that's for the past 3, 4 years now, we've seen very large organizations take up our flex space or the managed office solutions. We've signed very large multinational corporations taking up space with us within the city. And not only within the city, they become our multi-city clients. So they take up spaces across the region with us.
You focus mainly on only the client side, or do you also go and acquire the commercial space? What is your role? Guide us through that a little bit.
Sure. So personally, I look into sales, the client side of it. For the acquisition of the real estate, we have a different team here in the company. So we acquire real estate with the feedback of the sales team that which is the micro market, what is the kind of building that will work, A grade or A plus asset that we need to take up. And basis that input is when the real estate team goes into the market and scouts for some space.
The office space you mentioned in the beginning, let's go back there to the numbers and to the increase of the numbers. You say it is growing at a very fast pace, the entire commercial sector. Where do you think is it entirely going? Do you just think, okay, there's so much of volume, so much of potential? Or do you already hear sometimes people saying, hey, we are almost like going into a bubble because there's more construction than people? Which I, as a European, can hardly imagine. Thinking about India. Tell me a little bit there about the ratios maybe and also the trends.
Michael, most of our cities have a higher demand and lesser supply. All the major cities in India, including Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi NCR, Kolkata, would have more demand and less supply. And we've been growing by about 20-25% annually, between 20-25% annually, not only our company, but our competitors across the market, right? So the industry has been growing by that margin. And it's a $9-10 billion industry. So there is space for everyone. There is space for every kind of solution that people have to offer, right? From a premium space to an economy space. People are looking for that. And it doesn't seem to be a bubble just because it is backed by a very robust kind of demand. Since the last 2 years, we've been looking at global capability centers being set up in India by very large corporates. We call them the GCCs, and that's the kind of rush that we've saw since the late 2023. Previous to that, it was IT-enabled services who used to take it up. But now, for the last 1.5, 2 years, we've seen a lot of demand from the global capability centers.
Let's talk economy and also industries a little bit. I'm curious to see which industries are the driving forces. Also, here again, me being maybe European, having more like the view always on the US. So it's also here interesting to see what are main industries which are requiring office spaces in India, in Mumbai. And you might have some insights there because I imagine since you're in sales, you do analysis of certain prospects and you go like from industry into industry. You might have data there. So listen, like there's a lot of potential. Is it tech? Yeah. Is it manufacturing, automotive? And also here again, maybe educating us a little bit regarding certain names of industries, of company players, which we haven't heard about, which for me, it is, again, also here the same. hearing the first time about Office. This is super curious and super interesting for me.
Absolutely. While in Mumbai is the financial capital of the country. So we have more finance as the industry which predominates the space take up in Bombay. It could be private equity companies, banks, insurance companies who would take up majority of the space. Then comes the new age startups providing different kind of services to the country. If we talk about Bangalore, Pune, or Hyderabad, the predominant take up would be with the setup of global capability centers and IT for that matter. The large IT corporates, large IT giants would take up the space there. And while we move towards north, it's a mix of different industries, not only service, but also finance and IT as well. That's how the industry is, that's the kind of industries that take up space here. If we point out some of the largest occupiers in the country, I think it predominantly has to be information technology companies like Accenture. We would have Capgemini, Cognizant, Cognizant Technologies. Then we would also have insurance companies, telecom like Airtel, Vodafone, taking up majority of the space here.
That's interesting that even Accenture and Cognizant are using your spaces. I would have assumed that they have their own spaces because they're already so established. So even those players are.
Yeah, for India, it could not be a surprise, but yeah, managed office is now with almost every industry. They take up at least a part of their portfolio into flex and managed office spaces.
Of those locations, you have Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, etc., like a lot. Which one is right now like the hottest when you're like in internal calls and say, okay, like we have so much of demand there, like crazy right now, thinking about opening new spaces?
Yes, the top of the funnel, I think it has to be Hyderabad for now.
Which one?
And that's the kind, Hyderabad.
Okay.
Yeah. So previously it used to be Mumbai and Bangalore, but I think for the last 2 years, Hyderabad has seen tremendous growth. It's not only with the IT companies, but companies from various sectors who are looking up space there.
Guide us through the process. I am, let's say, a potential client. Guide us through the process, how I would go with you until from like first touch point to rental. And also who's basically normally the touch point you're talking to on the client side, on the customer side?
So it will depend on the size of space that you're looking at. Majority of our large scale clients would connect with the either our team directly, that's a sales team via the website, or what they would do is they will rather connect with international property consultant and IPC you were mentioning about. There is CBRE, JLL, and the others whom they would get in touch with, talk to them and get consulting done about the kind of space that they would need. Once that comes in, it floats as a RFP, that's a request for proposal to different service providers. Then every proposal is evaluated, gotten deep into what kind of building is it, what is the kind of fit outs that we would be able to provide them, what is the budget, what are the financials looking like. Once everything is resolved, once layer by layer we open it up, multiple conversations that go on before they take up space. So I think it's a cycle of about 3 to 6 months for any large corporate to set up in India with this space. Yes, multiple layers, as I mentioned, including legal, is what needs to be discussed. And then once done, they sign an agreement, the fit outs take place. Once the fit outs are done, the client moves into the space.
You said legal, also thinking about like Cognizant and Accenture, talking about like BPO companies. Do you then go into the ability to say, hey, we do have our normal installed Office, but if you want, we can also do some customization, including
Yes.
maybe some security measures which need to be taken care of because you have certain standards or you have some data security requirements.
So it's a pretty customized kind of space. The kind of requirements that our client brings to the table, we ensure that we have a solution for all of them. It's not only the IT security, but also the kind of aspects in terms of setting it up and the kind of look and feel that they would need inside the office. So all that is taken care of before we even move forward with setting up their space.
Give us a bit of an overview regarding the portfolio of the products you have, because you have day pass, you have also mobility, And I'm also wondering if you go into even
Absolutely.
the idea of co-living, if there's anything in your vision there, because I assume that this is a potential service offering which is linked, or if you deliberately say this is nothing we want to touch, and that would be also a fair argument.
Yeah, so co-living, we are not into that as of now. What we are into is majorly related to commercial workspace at this time. It starts from mobility solutions, which includes meeting rooms, day offices, day passes, virtual offices, depending on the kind of requirement or the use case the client would have. And then we move to flexible workspaces, which are of already set up offices for 1, 2, 4, or 5 or 10 people, pre-built kind of offices that they can just come on day one and start working from. And then the last offering is wherein we custom build offices for our clients, which is for a team at least bigger than 20, 25 odd people, can go up to 500,000 odd people, and we can set up an office for them at the building of their choice.
I learned a lot during this interview. You gave us a nice introduction into Office. Very pumped always to have people on the show, especially from India, to be honest. It's always super, super exciting and super interesting because for me, it's still like a totally different world. You also gave us like a very interesting aspect on the growth, on the potential and entering. Are there any points which you would like to mention? Because I know your time is limited.
No, absolutely. I think it is very important for us to, if anyone is wanting to invest in India, they would need to understand what is the potential and which city, what kind of service provider is best to take up. We are here to ensure that they get the right kind of assistance in that. And it's not only me, but they can reach out to any of our team members and we'll be happy to assist them.
Perfect. Sounds great. I'll definitely share your contact information in the show notes, and I make sure that people can reach out to you. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for giving the overview, and I'm wishing the best regards and sending a big hug to India, to Mumbai.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description.